Welcome to Friday Night Chats with Garage Geek. Hope everyone had a great week. I'm going to jump right in with some pictures. Now, my pictures are all out of order, so I just thought I'd get a couple out of the way. This last week, there's been a really big spider outside of my porch, and I've been fascinated with taking pictures of him or her. And the last 2 nights I haven't seen the spider. I'm wondering if my sister-in-law, knocked her down. But every night, right outside the porch, just this big web. And the next morning it'd be gone, and then again, built. So here's a couple of pictures. Now, the thing is, I never put my camera on a tripod, so the pictures at night never come out the way that I want them to. But here is one picture of it. And let me see. There's another one. As she was building the web, or he was building the web. There's another one. So as you can see, not great pictures. There he is building it. But I just find this spider fascinating, and I hope that my sister-in-law didn't kill it. Let's see if I can make it go faster. Yeah, I went around it and took a picture of it. Anyways, I don't know. I found the spider to be extremely fascinating, and every night when I clean the cat box, I have to take the used kitty litter out to the trash, and then I would be able to see the spider. And here's one where he's gotten a goodie. I don't know what that is. Yeah, unfortunately, I live in an area where there are so many power lines, and they're so ugly. It's one reason. One regret I have with where I live right now, just all the power lines. Laszlo Krasznahorkai won the Nobel Prize for Literature. And I'd never read anything by him. And my friend from Iowa, she wrote me, and she was telling me about the Nobel. She keeps me up on these things, because I'm kind of clueless. And so I was asking her, who do you think will win? And she gave me a list of 3 people, and Krasznahorkai was one of them. And then he won. And it was pretty interesting, because they have a long list of people who are nominated or eligible to win. And it just happened to be this time. Well, I shouldn't say it just happened to be. I often don't know a lot about the people who won the Nobel Prize. But my friend, she's read a bunch of his books. So I went ahead. There's no audio for any of his books. So I went ahead and got his first novel, which is called Satan Tango. And I ordered it, and it's, I ordered it off Amazon, so it's coming. And they say that this is his most accessible book. And he's kind of experimental. But then Bela Tarr, is that his name, Bela Tarr? Yes, made a movie out of his first novel. He's made a movie, I think, out of 2 or 3. And I started reading about this movie, and I was cracking up, so I had to buy it. It's... Oh gosh, if I could find it says it's a nightmare. Why Satan Tango is so boring. Satan Tango, the most miserable movie ever made. I watched this video, and it was pretty funny, because he shows the opening scene, and it's just all these cows moving through a yard and an area, and he sped it up times 3. And he was like, even, times 3, this is so boring. It's just cows moving everywhere. And I was laughing, because this is called slow cinema, but it's almost 8 hours long. And then it says, one of the comments says, wow, if I want 7 hours of misery, I just go to work. Oh, the comments for this movie are hilarious. I just had to buy it. I don't know how I'm going to sit through this. I remember watching the beginning of the movie. I think it was called Roma or Rome. It was the movie in Mexico, And and it was up for all these awards. And I mean, I really liked the movie, but it was like the opening scene is just a woman, I believe, cleaning like a driveway that's an indoor driveway, an enclosed driveway of all this dog pee and poop. And it's just like this really, really long, never-ending scene. And I think that was the beginning, right? Or was that the end? I think it was the beginning. And it's just, I'm sure it's going to be like 8 hours of that. Like, who puts themselves through this? Now, there's a bunch of movies that are categorized as slow cinema. And I've seen some of them. Like, I reviewed Stalker. And 2001 is put on that list. And another one on the list was A Taste of Cherry by Kiarostami, and I absolutely loved that movie. So I don't know. Like this is going to be interesting when I get the movie, but I promise that I am going to watch that whole thing, and then I'm going to report to you about that movie. I hope it's not like Skinamarink though. That movie I did not enjoy, and that was certainly slow cinema. Anyways, let's continue. So, I'm actually looking forward to delving into Krasznahorkai's work because he tries to do interesting things. Like he has a short story, I believe, or even a novel where it is one long sentence, and I think that's kind of really interesting to see how a writer could, keep that going and keep it interesting. And I'm looking forward to reading one of those. I don't think Satan Tango is like that though. All right. I want to mention Jeff's Cave of Cool Books because I'm going to be on his show tomorrow at 4 p.m. my time. It's his birthday. He's turning 25, and he's doing I think like an introduction to October kind of horror fest, and we're just going to show off some scary things. Now, unfortunately, I'm not one of these people that has a lot of rare horror comics. There's a lot of great YouTubers out there, like Chongo means like gorilla. Chongo means gorilla in Spanish, but Chonko, he's got an amazing collection. Captain Strangelife has some comics that when you see them, you just want to drop over because you can't believe. And he bought them when they were cheap. And he's got all these amazing EC horror comics, and it's just mind-numbing, some of the collections people have. I don't have any of that. But I'm going to, bring stuff that I think are fun and nobody wants to see, but hopefully we'll have a fun time. And he also has another guest on that I've never met, so it'll be a good opportunity for me to interact with someone else in that community. But speaking of Jeff, he reviewed this book on his channel, and I decided I had to read it. And so this book is called I Watched Them Eat Me Alive, and they're articles from the Men's Adventure Library Journal. And I went ahead and bought this. And what is really, really interesting about this is it's got, I think, 5 or 6 of the actual articles. But in between, it's got all the cover art, well, a lot of cover art relating to these magazines. And what's hilarious is reading some of the other titles of some of the articles. The Women Who Raffle Their Love, Please Enjoy My Wife, Rape on the Prairie. I mean, it's just, there's some crazy article titles. So I was looking at all the others, wishing I could read some of those articles instead of these animal hunter ones. Rammed in the Gut and Dying. I Survived Chinese Torture. Premarital Sex. She says yes. He says no. Why Foreign Girls Make Better Wives and Lovers. Men Hungry Women Are Lousing Up Business. I mean, and it just goes on and on. I really want to read some of those other articles. But I read, unfortunately, I didn't get through the whole thing, but I got through over half of it. And these are all articles about people who have come in contact with wild animals and, they've attacked. And Jeff mentioned that the first article was the best. Well, first of all, there's an introduction. That was really good. And you get all the great art in this. And the first article was the best, and Jeff did say he enjoyed that one the most. And this one, and it was called "I Watched Them Eat Me Alive," and it's about these. Oh wait, there was two about crabs, so I gotta make sure I don't mix them up. Let me see. Oh yeah, this one is about a guy who crashes onto an island. Well, his ship sinks in war, I think, and he crashes he's like a stowaway on this island, and he's sleeping under a tree, and he notices something moving, and he doesn't really realize it. But the next day, I think he climbs the tree because he wants to get a view of the island or a coconut. But I think he climbs to get a better view, and he doesn't realize that the tree is like infested with these crabs, and he falls down and they all start chasing him, and he falls down and they all fall on him, and he's trying to get away, and they just start attacking viciously, and they're like cutting him up. And like, for example, the best part of this story, it's gruesome. He describes that they've sliced his fingers off and the fingers are bouncing away. The crabs are fighting and he's watching his fingers bounce as the crabs fight over it. Meanwhile, he's still being attacked. I mean, it's really gruesome stuff. There's another crab attack story, which was also pretty gruesome, about a man who is visiting, I forget where, and a woman takes him to a secluded spot, and she goes into the shallows and doesn't realize it, but she gets in this nest of them and they all start attacking her. He tries to help her, and that's a huge mistake. I'm not going to give away the endings of these stories, but mostly they are, excuse me, pretty gruesome. Here's some more of the art. So what else do we have? We have attacking gorillas that are supposedly after women, and they grab women, and someone goes on the hunt to get them back. What was it? Here's an example of a cover from that. The artwork in these things are so cool. And what was another one? The other one I read was Gorillas Terror Safari was that one. Flying rodents ripped my flesh. Oh yeah. Another one was all these flying squirrels attacked, and I mean, he's like trying to rip them off, and they're like it's like pretty gross, even to the point where they're like in his mouth, and he's like biting them, and they're scratching and clawing, and they won't let go. He talks about grabbing one and squishing it while the other ones are still attacking him, and he felt at least a little bit of joy as he squeezed the life out of that one and the guts while they're still like ripping them apart. I don't know, this is not for the fate of heart, but man, I'm enjoying this. So I'm absolutely buying more in this series. In fact, I did order another book, but it's an art book, which I will be showing off. I've got a lot of shows, but I think I'm gonna save that for the end. I'm gonna talk about the comic that I read. Now, I really wanted to read this whole thing, but it just got away from me. So this is the second volume of Miles Morales' Spider-Man, and this is by Bendis, Marquez, Loraz, and Pichelli. And I read the first volume, and I absolutely loved it. And I had to wait a long time for the second volume to come out. And so I started reading this, and I absolutely love it. It's really, really good. Now, unfortunately, there's a crossover event in here, which is Civil War. But even the Civil War issues are good. So the writers handle it well. So you get a lot of the Avengers and them dealing with a very young Miles Morales and having to train him and just deciding whether they're going to or not. There's some. The art is nice. I mean, it's not always the same artist, but it's a lot of fun. The art is great. Like, for example, this one. Yeah, and then after you get through the Civil War stuff, of course, there's Venom. I mean, you can't escape Venom, you can't escape Wolverine, you can't escape Deadpool. I mean, these characters are just always showing up. I wish they could do something without having to drag in all those characters all the time. But okay, whatever. Just a little gripe. So, for example, in this, Venom is way different than in the other universe. And of course, that's an homage to Spider-Man 50. And even though I'm not finished with this, I'm really glad I bought this. I highly recommend that if you've never read Miles Morales, Spider-Man, grab volumes 1 and volume 2 that are both out. I don't think you'll regret it. Very fast paced, but engaging. Good writing. The next thing that I'm going to talk about, I guess I'm going to move into the books. So a friend of mine sent me this randomly. I didn't know that she was, and it's called Things Become Other Things. And I don't read enough nonfiction. And so I'm always happy to have a reason why. And this, I hardly read anything. But what I'm doing is I'm reading a couple of small chapters each night or trying. And I'm allowing this book to kind of just like, I'm not going to rush through it. I'm going to enjoy it a little by little. This is about a man who is a journalist, I believe, and he decides that, he does a lot of walking in Japan. And so he does it in a specific area. I don't think I have ever actually been in that area. I did live in Japan 3 years, and I did travel once. But he does it, in this area. I guess it's called the Kii Peninsula. And he's traveling all of these roads, and he's just talking about the beauty, getting away from, where there's all these shops and getting into the back areas. And this just kind of experiencing the nature and the people and thinking about his life, contemplating just as he's walking. And I mean, he's walking a lot every single day. And what's great about this book is not only that you get his thoughts, his ruminations, but there's so many great black and white photos that kind of illuminate what he's experiencing. And having gone to Japan, I can really relate to a lot of the stuff that's in this book. And I think even if you haven't been in Japan, you could still appreciate this a lot. Like, just these roadside images on his hike, and also of the shops that he goes to when he does come across them. And just like, for example, here's the end of a road before it goes onto a trail, in this abandoned sign in this. And I mean, the photographs are only in black and white, but still, they have a stark beauty often. Now, the one thing that kind of surprised me is this is a very modern writer. So I don't know if I'm used to just stuffy writing or whatever, but he will be writing these beautiful sentences and then throw an expletive in. And it kind of like throws me off, because to me it seems to kind of cheapen the writing. But then again, that's how people think, right? And so this isn't supposed to be literary in that sense. It's more, a journal and his thoughts. And so it kind of seems natural. I don't think that, I hope I'm not a prude, but it's just a different style of writing than I usually read. It's, with all the expletives in there. And I'm getting used to it. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just, for me, it's very strange when he's like describing all this nature and then all of a sudden there's a shit or a dickhead. And I mean, like that, like he actually used that word like right at the beginning. I was like, oh, it kind of just threw me out for a little bit, made me laugh. But I mean, no reason why I would put it down. But it so far, I'm really enjoying that. It's relaxing to read, and it's also relaxing for me as I read it. Okay, I've got a couple of books to talk about, and unfortunately, all the books that I listened to this week, they were all just okay for me. And that's going to be surprising, I think, because one of these books is getting amazing reviews, and I should love it, but I don't know why I don't. I really enjoyed it, but and I'm not going to say it's a bad book, but just for some reason, these three books left me with a just like, oh, okay, overall feeling. So let me go ahead and find the covers of those books. Oh my goodness, I don't think I have one of them. Okay, I don't have one. But the first one is the second book in the series about a character named Odd. And it's Forever Odd by Dean Koontz. Now, this series was recommended by, I think, either Mr. E or somebody else. And again, I've read better with characters like this. So this is a character that can kind of see the dead and sense them. And his best friend gets kidnapped in this book. And so the whole book, he is trying to hunt down where his friend is through his senses. And it's a woman who wants to exploit his power that has kidnapped his friend. And she wants to experience what he experiences, and she brings him to this remote place. And I mean, again, along the way, he's coming in contact with all these different spirits and entities, and it's all fun. I'm not going to say it's a bad book, but for me, it's not amazing. Like I said this the last time. I think the Charlene Harris 3-book series about a woman who can commune with the dead was way better than this series, although I am enjoying it. And I'm definitely going to go on to the 3rd book. The next one, which I'm really sorry to say, is The Old Gods Waken. And that's by Manly Wade Wellman. And I just want to take a second to talk about that name. Manly Wade Wellman. And I'm just thinking, okay, he's a well-made, manly man. I mean, the name is just funny. Sorry, Manly Wade Wellman. A well-made, just change the W to an M. A well-made, manly man. Anyways, Jeff at Jeff's Cave of Cool Books just did a video on him. And this is a pulp writer, I believe, or a horror writer from the 40s or 50s, maybe. And I think this book is relatively late. It's a series. There's a character who I guess is a traveler, and all he does is travel around with his guitar. And he is traveling up in hillbilly country, and there's this pair of brother hillbillies, and they've been communing with the old gods, and they're going through this huge ceremony. And then this guy, he contacts his friend because she's a I forget what they're called, but someone who anthropologist. So she, is interested in culture, and they're way back up in the hills, and he meets his friend back there. He's been invited, and there's these other people that, they know all the old songs, and so, they invite her up to make recordings or whatever, and then she gets kidnapped by the Hillbilly Brothers, and they set a series of 7 tasks for this guy and a Native American, and they've got to go try to rescue the woman. So they have to go through all these 7 tasks, and they get progressively more and more difficult. I had fun. I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna say that I love this book. I will go on to the next one if it's available in audio, because I just, it's fun. It was fast. In fact, I got it, I think, yesterday, and I I wanted to get through it so that I could review it. I wanted to say more positive things. Sorry, Jeff. I just thought this book was okay. I'm hoping that maybe his other stuff is much, much better because I checked on eBay and his books are really expensive to get. Okay. Now, the third book is kind of crushing to me because this is a book that I should absolutely love. And in fact, I didn't get the download the picture, so I'm gonna do that now. And it's called The Great Believers. And this was a book that was nominated for. It's by Rebecca Mackay. And this was a National Book Award finalist. It was also, I think, a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. It came out in 2018, and it's about the AIDS epidemic. And this is a book that I should absolutely love. It's a really, really, really good book. And I don't know why, but sometimes books written in third person just leave me cold. It's not the style that I love, but it's a really, really well-written book. It's very emotional. I did actually find myself being emotionally pulled at a couple points in the book. Now, this book is about, it takes place in two different time periods. So it takes place in the 1980s with a group of characters, and then in 2015. And so we have a group of gay people with their supporters and friends, and that's taking place in 1980. And then it's mostly about the onset of the AIDS crisis, everything that was going on, about the government, about the protests, about just all the group of friends just dying one after the other, how people deal with the relationships and sex, and how everything just changed practically overnight, how everyone got scared. Like, there's a lot in this book, and I'm telling you, it's really, really well written. And you're also juxtaposed with that. It goes back and forth. It jumps to 2015, where one of the characters from that era, she's much older, and she has a child who's an adult, and the child had her daughter joined a cult, and so she's looking for her, and she has to go to Paris. The trail takes her to Paris, and she is reunited with some of the people from the 1980s time, and it's a reflection on like tragedy and trauma, and how it informs over your life, and how these things can affect you and affect what happens, like the long-lasting effects of trauma, I guess I should say. And I should have really, really liked this more than I did. I'm not saying I hated this at all. I really, really enjoyed this, but I should have loved it, and I just don't understand why I didn't. The writing is great. It's, like I said, it's very poignant. There's so much in it that is so cool. Oh, hold on one second, because my my AC is dripping. Mm-hmm. Sorry, everybody. Gotta turn off my AC. Sorry. And the reason is I don't want to turn this off and then have to redo it and cut that part out. Yeah, so if I leave my AC on too much, it starts dripping water. We got to get it fixed. But when I brought my dog in, she was going, and so she needs an AC or else she gets all wild. And she finally calmed down, but now I had to turn off the AC. Okay, TMI, let's move on. So, The Great Believers, I'm highly recommending it. But I just don't know why I didn't like it more. I think it was maybe it was my mood this week. I had a rough week. My dog Nana had diarrhea, and she was up a couple of times each night, and I would have to get up in the middle of the night and take her outside, and by the time I came back, I wasn't tired anymore. It would take me a long time to fall asleep. So every day I was just I was going on less sleep progressively over a couple of nights. And then yesterday, a colleague and a friend's father died, and I went to like the funeral home, and it wasn't that far from work, but coming home, the traffic was pretty brutal. So, I got home late and I was already pretty exhausted. And so, this is like, it's nothing crazy, but I just think over time it kind of wore me down a little bit. Maybe that affected my mood as I was listening to these books, because I really should have liked these books more. But it is what it is. I just thought that they were okay, not amazing. So that's Forever Odd, the Great Believers, and The Old Gods Waken. And now it's time to talk about some shows. Now, at this point, it's 30 minutes, and I'm going to talk about 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shows. So, if this is where you want to bail, this might be where you want to bail. But I am going to go through each of these shows and, talk about what I watched and give some commentary. So the first 3 that I'm going to talk about, or the first 2 I'm going to talk about, are season 2 episodes from Space 1999. Now, the first one was called One Moment of Humanity, and it was episode 3. Now, it starts off with these 2 kind of just like showing off their new clothes and just having a girly girl moment. Like, she's telling her how she should do her hair best. And because she can shape change, she changes her hair like on the spot. It's a really cute and fun way to open the episode. And then we have Barbara Bain being able to show off her body like in that dress. And she's in this dress the whole episode. And it's kind of funny watching her run around in this dress. And this one, her dress looks like it's got like a shower curtain across the front of it. It's pretty funny. But the fashion on the show is amazing. So what happens is they go to this, I love these backdrops in these shows. So they go to this planet, and no, actually they're forced. This woman comes onto their ship. She's able to freeze them all, and she forces 2 of them to make a choice to go to her planet. Now, what they're trying to do is everyone, and their costumes are awesome. They realize that it's a planet of robots or androids, and look at these outfits. They're just so awesome, and they want the people that they've brought there to show them anger, and they're doing everything they can to get them to commit a violent act, because they need to learn how to kill so that they can take over more. But they just don't know how to do it. It's a pretty weird idea. All they'd have to do is like watch an old TV show. But, they find out because these people are actually other human slaves. And they whisper to her, don't show them any emotion. Don't show them any violence. And it was a fun episode. I enjoyed it, especially for those costumes and those sets. Awesome. Then the next one was an episode called All That Glisters. And here is look at how amazing that set is. So the what do you call it? This Moonbase Alpha, that's what it's called. They sent out people, sent out a probe ship because they're looking for a mineral that they need to make something for life support on the ship. And so there's an actual sentient rock on this planet. And this sentient rock drew them there on false pretenses so that they could get water. And the rocks on that planet have drained the entire planet of water, and they're all starting to die out, and there's only a few left, and they're able to trick them. Now, I actually really, really, really like the end of this episode because it shows the compassion of humanity. I just thought it was a great ending. Jeff, Cave of Cool Books, he talked about a show called World of Giants from 1959 and the first episode is called Special Agent. And this episode was available on YouTube, so I went ahead and watched it. And it was about a man who, while he's on assignment, in Russia, I think, he gets hit with like a cloud of radioactive dust, and it changes him, so he becomes this big, and he rides around in another agent's briefcase. They've got like a little chair set up for him, and in the beginning of the episode, it's really cool because he almost gets crushed by a pencil, and Jeff mentioned that it's really filmed well, where you're getting this great sense of perspective. That's his suitcase. It's got a little air holes for him, and this is in his house where he. Oh no, this isn't. So he goes on an assignment, and they've got to get some files, and the guy that he's with gets knocked out. And he's by himself, and he's got to try to get out of a situation. He's got to call to alert them that the guy that he's with is unconscious, and they've only got a little bit of time. But meanwhile, there is a cat loose. There's a cat loose in the thing, and so he runs into like a garbage basket, and he's able to hide in that garbage basket. It's a lot of fun, and then he's able, he's got to like struggle with the rotary dial phone. It's all pretty fun and awesome. I really enjoyed that. So I might actually buy this season because the rest of them I don't think are available on YouTube, and I might watch it. A lot of fun. I started watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I don't know why. It was just, I think it was on, I saw it advertised next to one of the shows that I was already watching, and I was like, I've always wanted to watch it. So I clicked it and I started watching it. Now, what was bad, I think it was on Peacock, right? They listed the first episode, so I watched the whole episode, which I'm going to talk about, and then I found out it was actually the 31st episode. I was like, what? So Peacock has all of the numbering wrong. So I had to go online and find the official order, and I'm watching them out of order on Peacock, but in order of how they were done on like originally. So the first one that I watched was called Gentlemen from America. It was episode 31. And what I have to say is I'm a fan of these old shows because they're so atmospheric and beautiful the way they're shot. And my pictures aren't showing it, but this is a classic haunted house story where two people, they're conniving. Like the Brits in this really seem conniving. And they want to win some money. And so they tell this American who's in town about a haunted room, and they bet him that he can't stay overnight. Now, I'm not going to ruin it for you. I really did enjoy the episode. I mean, it's not the best thing you're ever going to watch, but I enjoyed it, and there's a little bit of a twist at the end, and there's a little bit of character growth that we have. I don't want to say more than that, but I really did enjoy the episode. But again, it's not the best thing you're ever going to watch. So then I went back and watched the first one. And this is it's called Revenge. And so first off, I should say, if you don't know Alfred Hitchcock Presents, he always comes on at the beginning and the end, and he makes these like dry, witty comments. And it's a lot of fun. But this episode starred a couple who needed to get away because the wife was having a breakdown. And so they go to this area, and they're living in this like trailer park, but it's nice. And something happens. She gets attacked, but we never see it. So we don't know if it really happened. And the husband is outraged. And by the way, this is one of the, I think one of the actresses from Psycho. And it's really beautiful filmed, beautiful shot. Like, here's another shot. Here's the husband. And I don't want to give this away, but they go out looking for revenge. And I'm just going to leave it there. It's, I I saw the ending coming a mile away. It was still fun and satisfying. Now the next one, which was number 2, was called Premonition. And this one, I was like, oh my God, when it started, I was like, oh my God, it's Blake Carrington from Dynasty. So that, I guess his name is William Forsythe. And also he was the voice of Charlie in Charlie's Angels. But I knew him best as Dynasty. I was a huge fan of Dynasty. Hello, I'm gay. So I watched Dynasty as a kid. And I think, I think that's what turned me gay, watching Dynasty. Joan Collins and Linda Evans. Wow. I love that show so much. And then later, Diane Carroll. She was awesome. But anyways, this was a fun episode. This guy has been traveling the world, and he's always fought with his father, and he left his father, on bad terms, and they haven't been speaking to each other. And so I think it was like 5 years he was gone. And so he goes back unannounced, and he finds out that his father is dead. And there's Cloris Leachman. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Really enjoyed this episode. This one had a really interesting twist that I didn't see coming, but once that twist happened, I guessed the ending, or I guessed a couple of the endings. It still seemed really enjoyable along the way. I enjoyed that one. Now, unfortunately, the third episode, called Triggers in Leash, was really bad. It was, it's about, we open with a woman who's running like a small restaurant in the outskirts of an Old West town. And one guy comes in. So here's a shot of it. One guy comes in and he's like all paranoid, and it's obvious that someone is out to shoot him or kill him. And you get these amazing shots. Look at that. He's ready to get his gun, and then this is Davin McGarren, which, right after this, I'm going to talk about a Kolchak episode. So there's Mr. Kolchak himself. I think that's the granny from the Beverly Hillbillies or something. I really recognize her. Oh, speaking of grannies, which isn't really a granny, but Aunt May from the Andy Griffith Show, she was in the first episode, Revenge. But anyways, even though it's beautifully shot, it's just, you could tell they had about 5 minutes of material that they spread out over 25. It's very talky, like a play, going back and forth. But the acting is fun. The situation is interesting. You're just going to be sitting around, twiddling your thumbs while, they chew up these scenes, trying to get through 25 minutes of material of, are they going to shoot each other? Who's going to come out victorious? When is it going to happen? Or is it going to be resolved? Because she plays a go-between for these two the entire episode. Her husband was killed in a gunfight like this, and she doesn't want it to happen. And she especially doesn't want it to happen in her restaurant. So, I'm enjoying Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Even when the episodes are bad, they're fun. And then, Alfred Hitchcock comes on like the Crypt Keeper and makes some silly comments about the episodes. And what's really interesting is there's sometimes some political reasons behind what he says. Like, he has to say, oh, but that's okay. This would never really happen because he's they're for legal reasons, like they're showing murder or something, and he's got to come on and say, oh, but it's all just made up. Don't you worry about it, kind of thing, which is pretty interesting. And then finally, wow, you suffered through it. There's one more show that I'm going to talk about, and that is a Kolchak, episode 9, Spanish Moss Murder. Now, in this episode, there is a man, I tried to get this because I just thought they packed so much information into this one scene. You've got a doctor with his patient and Kolchak investigating. And there's a man who has been in asleep, like a coma type sleep for months, I think. And it's doing weird things to his brain, so much so that he's creating a creature from his subconscious that is going out and killing people. And this creature, it looks like a mossy Bigfoot. So there's an example of the creature jumping out. Here's what he looks like a kind of close up. And there's this great scene where it takes place in the sewer. And Kolchak is down in the sewers. He wants to get rid of this creature, and he's searching for him. And like rats go swimming by, and like, look at this. This is pretty cool when the rat goes by, and then the creature comes. Like it's like that scene in Alien where the alien comes up out of the water. It's actually pretty creepy, and it's well done. And so this is a great picture. Like he's like running away from the creature in the I wonder if I can get that one to change. No, not really. All right. So that was the Spanish Moss Murders. I won't give it away how it ends. But it was a lot of fun. Still really enjoying the Kolchak episodes. I'm almost halfway through. I wanted to be halfway through for this episode, but because of everything going on this week, I wasn't able to do that. So there you have it. I talked about reading some of the articles and the art in this book. I watched them eat me alive. I talked a little bit about this book, Things Become Other Things, and the gorgeous photography included in this book. A little bit about Miles Morales' Spider-Man Volume 2. Then I talked about some of the books that I read, which were Forever Odd, The Great Believers, and The Old Gods Waken. And then the second half of this, I also talked about the Nobel Prize winner, Laszlo Krasznahorkai. I think I said that right. And so then I talked about two Space 1999 shows, one World of Giants episode, 4 Alfred Hitchcock Presents episodes. Oh, and by the way, there's 39 in the first season. And Kolchak number 9. If you can, please join me tomorrow on Jeff's Cave of Cool Books on his channel at 4 o'clock my time. I don't even know what time it is for him in Japan. I think it's in the morning. I think it's like 9 in the morning when when he's coming on. And also it's his birthday, so even if you just drop by and wish him happy birthday in the comments, that would be cool. And as always, I want to thank you all for the support. Any comments that you put, always greatly appreciated.